Welcome to Number War, the ultimate playing card game. Number War is a turn-based strategy game in which 2 or more players fight each other to the last card. Each player will have their own deck and will be trying to wipe out all of their opponent's cards before the opponent can do the same to them. To start, all you need is 2 players, one 52-card deck, and an official game mat is optional. Shuffle the deck and divide it into 2 equal portions for each player. Then, both players will draw 6 cards for their starting hand. Note that for every turn after the first, players will only draw 1 card at their turn start. The player to go first is determined randomly. As you can see, the battlefield is divided into 3 primary zones: the back line, the front line, and the chamber. Each of these zones has unique benefits to your strategy, and collectively, this is called your battlefield. But more on that in a moment. When it's your turn, you will be able to make up to 3 moves to advance your cause. This could be playing a card, moving a card that's in play, retracting a card from the battlefield back to your hand, declaring an attack on your opponent, or even combining 2 numbers of the same suit to create what's called a combo. So let's talk about what each card type does. Number cards act as your soldiers, and their combat value is equal to their face value. While faces act as support, and they each have a distinct ability that supports cards of their own suit. For example, jacks are powerful defensive cards that can block inbound attacks on behalf of any card of the jack's suit. Furthermore, the jack will weaken the attacker by the face value of the defender. After use, jacks are discarded. Kings and queens have the ability to boost the face value of all numbers on your side of the battlefield, as long as they are the same suit as the king or queen. A king will boost all suited numbers by 4, and a queen will boost them by 2. The king or queen will then remain in play, reigning and enhancing all of their suited numbers, until there are no more numbers of the royal suit left on your side of the battlefield. Then, the monarch will be discarded at the end of your next turn. Aces are the healers of the game, and they actually have 2 abilities. One is that they can revive any card from the discard pile that shares suit with the ace. The other is that they can recover any weakened card of the ace's suit. So, if a card has been weakened, for example by a jack, you can play an ace to recover it to full face value. When played, you'll choose one of these 2 ace effects to activate, and after using it, the ace is discarded. So when you get an ace, try to time it and use the ace's best effect for the circumstances. Now back to the board zones. The back line is where you can play both numbers and faces. It is a defensive line where cards cannot attack, but you are also at less risk if your numbers are defeated here. This is because if an attack occurs, the attacker and defender's face value will be compared, and then the smaller face value simply loses and is discarded. The front line, by contrast, is the battle area, and the stakes are higher. The front line is where the majority of your scoring will take place, and only numbers can be placed on the front line. But the numbers here can actually attack. The risk, however, is that if a frontline number is defeated by an opposing frontline number, the player won't just lose the card, but in addition, they'll suffer overage damage. This means you will lose additional cards based on the attacker and defender's face value. So, the difference between the 2 values is subtracted directly from the defender's deck. This is a great way to score big on an opponent, but it is also something to avoid happening to yourself. So be cautious of this on the front line. The other thing to remember when attacking is that faces can never be attacked directly by a number. Moving on to the final board zone, the chamber. In a way, this zone is the reverse of the front line, in that only faces can be played here. No numbers allowed. But there are a few unique characteristics that make this zone so useful. The first is that all cards played into this zone are concealed, meaning they are face down, and your opponent does not know what they are until you're ready to play them. But what's even more powerful is that cards played from here are also blitz plays, which means you can activate them at any time, including on your opponent's turn, or even to intercept their attacks. But if this weren't enough, the final advantage of this zone is the sheer cost. Playing a face card into this zone will cost you one move on your turn. However, activating that card and playing it to the battlefield will be completely free whenever you decide to reveal the card. So, as you can see, the chamber is a very useful play zone that allows you to both surprise your opponent and to set up longer strings of moves, sometimes far beyond the standard 3 in a given turn. Use this zone wisely and it can turn the tides of gameplay. Now, we've covered the basics of cards and gameplay. This video is a brief overview, and there are still a few other things to be aware of for handling specific circumstances. For the full details of gameplay, check out the official rulebook. Till then, happy gaming.